So there are three.
Hello, Rob here.
Positions.
And in this video we're
The
going to be doing a bit of
dominant
context.
position, also
We're going to be looking at the
preferred
games
reading.
industry in
The
general
encoder's intended
in support
meaning
of Assassin's Creed 3
is fully
Liberation.
understood and accepted by
So we're not going to
the
be talking about
audience.
Assassin's
We go,
Creed
"Oh, that's
3
what they meant."
Liberation itself.
Get it.
This is more background
Accept it.
contextual
The
information.
negotiated position, where the
So,
legitimacy of the encoder's message is acknowledged
obviously,
in general terms.
This is
Although the
section B
message
we're
is
looking at of
adapted or
component 1.
negotiated to better fit the decoder's own
And we need to look at media industries, audiences and media context. We're covering a little bit of each of these.
Can be
So you've
aberrant
got to develop a knowledge and
readings, they can be
understanding
not
of key aspects of media industry.
create
So
or
we've looked at
intended at all.
ownership and
Could be things
funding
that creator
in
never even
the
thought of.
Assassin's Creed 3 and
Classic
Ubisoft
one
video.
we think of lately is the way in which the Babadook
And we had a
has
look
become
about
something
the
of a
fact that
gay
they're a
icon.
global production company.
You know, Jennifer Kent, when she was
And
making
they
the
target
Babadook,
the
never
global
meant it to be
audience.
some analogy of the
We looked a
gay
little
experience,
bit
but for some reason,
at
gay
the technology.
audiences
We're going to look at a little
latched
bit
on
more
to
of the video
Babadook.
game technology and convergent platforms today
And
in this
even
video.
you know,
Not really going to look at
Pride,
individual
rainbow
producers
colours,
bit.
Pride editions of the Babadook on Blu-ray.
No, we're looking a little bit of
Nothing
audience
to do with video games, it's just a good
and
example.
who plays games.
And then the
We're not going to
oppositional
look specifically at
position,
Assassin's Creed 3 and whether it's
understood,
mass or
but the
niche, but we're going to
decoder
look at
disagrees with
audience
it,
in general
reading it in a contrary or oppositional way.
and how audiences
This is
are
usually
constructed and
political,
categorized.
say,
We won't
say,
do
like,
anything about how it shapes
feminist
their,
readings or
their
socialist
identity and
readings
social,
or
cultural, historical circumstances in this video.
like you might consider something racist or sexist.
We'll do that for a
or
second
homophobic
one,
or
a
whatever.
separate one on audience.
Notice
We'll
none
look
of
at a
these
little bit of the
include
historical
the
context of
audience
video games.
completely missing the encoder's point.
Remember, you're only going to
Totally
get video
misreading
games
it,
in
that's another
section B. You're
position
not going to have to
altogether.
talk about it in section A.
He's afraid a lot today, aren't I? Anyway,
We're
Fandom,
going to
Henry
look
Jenkins.
at
This
the
is one we haven't
relevant
looked at
video
at all.
game industry.
How
and a little
do
bit of the audience in this
audiences
one.
react to
Right.
these products? Now,
Again,
that
theory-wise,
I mentioned
Curran and
about
Seaton.
the fans of the
Hess McGelch,
Babadook, the
they
gay
can be
fans
key
of the
ones.
Babadook reappropriating it and
In
having
terms
completely
of
different
the
meaning. This is
syllabus
what we're talking about
links,
here.
we're mainly
But
going
Henry
to be
Jenkins,
looking at. we've
talks
done
about
a
fandom
little bit of that in the Ubisoft
and
video.
the idea that fans are active
Um,
participants in the construction and the circulation
not really doing
of
that one in
textual
this one.
meanings. We're not just
that one
passive
we'll do a separate
consumers.
video about.
What we're really looking here is fan
convergence.
culture.
The
The
we're
idea
going to
that
look a
fans
little bit more
appropriate
about this
text
one.
and read them in ways that are not fully authorized
And
by
this
the media
one.
producers, the textual
Economic
poaching
factors.
element, like we were just talking about the Babadook.
Not so much that one.
The idea
or
that fans
one.
construct their
A little bit
social and
of that
cultural
one.
identities through borrowing and
Not
inflecting
that
mass
one.
culture
Not
images
that one.
that are part of
Not that one.
participatory culture
Not that one.
that has a
Right.
vital social dimension. It's a good term,
A
participatory culture.
little bit about categorizing and
What we're
grouping
talking about here is
audiences
fan
by
culture.
demographic.
So, cosplay slash
but-
lit.
Not so much. We're going to look at the difference between
On
mass
one
and
level,
niche.
the kinds
And
of
things
people
like that.
who
We'll use this
will
one a little
dress
bit.
up as
Not too much. But we'll do different
characters from
video
Assassin's
mania.
Creed and make Assassin's
But
Creed
we're going to
3
look at who the
hardcore
typical
videos.
gamer is.
Or they'll make their own
Now, if we
fan
think
films.
about the
They
typical
will,
stereotype of a gamer,
on one level, but there's also just
picture it in
kids
your head.
playing.
What does this
You
person
know, so-
look like? Who are
I
they?
don't know. When I was a little kid,
Well,
we
when I think gamer,
Star
I think
Wars
you're probably
in the
thinking something
playground and
similar.
all arguing who
They're gonna look
will
like
get
this.
to see Han Solo. And I'm sure that when you were kids, you might have been playing, I don't know,
Overweight
Harry Potter or
because they
something like
spend all their
that.
time eating
Or
candy
you had
bars
whatever
and
dolls
energy
and
drinks,
action figures you had. Like I had Star
Bad
Wars
skin,
figures. That's all part of
balding.
it too.
glasses from looking
you're
at screens too much,
creating this.
wrist braces for the
you don't just
repetitive
play
strain
video
injury of
games,
having
all these
to
other things
use
outside
mice and
buying
keyboards all the time.
merchandise, the action figures, the toys,
Geeky.
the lunchboxes, the posters,
Sci-fi,
You go watch the
fantasy,
movie,
nerdy
whatever.
stuff,
Okay.
but interested in all sorts of different
And then
kinds of
there's
media,
Clay
I guess.
Shirky's end of audience
Obviously,
theory.
single person
The
in
idea
an
of the internet
apartment.
and digital
Clearly, there's no
technology and
female
profound
influence
effect on the
here.
relationship between
He's
human
not got a
individuals,
girlfriend.
so to what degree do
You know,
individuals have a way to talk back to them,
spends all his
their
time
way to
online.
manipulate
Doesn't
or
tidy up.
influence,
He's
seeing
poor.
Assassin's Creed 3
Yeah, this is your
Liberation
typical
franchise, whatever.
stereotype of the
The
gamer.
idea of the
he's thinking
conceptualization of
some
an audience members as passive consumers,
fat,
of
lonely,
mass media
misogynistic
content is no longer
virgin
tenable in the age of the
living
internet.
in his
Those media
parents'
consumers now
basement.
become producers who speak back to the media in various ways, as well as creating and sharing
So if we're
content
thinking
with one another. So as I
stereotyping,
said, that ties in
Walter
with fan
Lippmann,
culture and the idea of participatory
thinking
culture, that we can make our own
David
content.
Gauntlet, Stuart
But
Hall.
there's also
right?
there's going to be
Is this
fan
accurate?
forums, Facebook pages,
Well,
Twitter accounts.
yeah, there are a lot of people
YouTube
out there like this.
videos, you know, there
You may
could
know
be
them.
tons
It
of
may
stuff
be
where
you.
people are
Who
able
knows?
to engage
But
with the product on something more than just a passive.
This
just playing the game
is from a couple of years ago. I think it's from 2017, and this
Right,
is a consumer
what
insight
specifically do we
report
need
into
to
the
look at?
UK
There's a lot of
gamer.
stuff
Look
we
at
can
this.
cover. Right, so
There are
we've got to look
32.4
at
million
for
video
industries, the
gamers
process,
in the
production,
UK. This
distribution,
is
and
about
circulation
half
by
the population
organisations,
almost.
groups and individuals in a global context.
Total video game
So,
revenues
who is
4.2
making Assassin's Creed 3?
billion US dollars.
How do they
At this
distribute
point,
it
they
to
were the
audiences?
fifth. The UK was the fifth largest video game market in the world.
Also including in that, of course, the kind of distribution.
Watches video content.
consumption
50% of people who watch gaming
is
video content
different, or
watch
exchanges
let's plays
also known.
and walkthroughs.
It's different now.
So,
we've got these
YouTube
streaming
videos.
services.
And this is
You know,
like,
once upon a time, Ubisoft
think
would make
about
Assassin's
people like
Creed,
PewDiePie.
they distribute it
Right.
on DVD.
I know for a fact my
Consumer
nieces and
would go
nephews
to
will spend hours
whatever
and
they figured out
hours
it
and
was, like
hours
games,
watching
for
other
example.
people play video games.
Buy it, take it home, put it
To
in the games
understand
console,
myself, I'll watch
play it.
walkthroughs of what I get through
Now,
a
of
particularly
course,
difficult bit of a
more and
video
more
game I
games
can't,
are streamed,
you
more
know,
and more games
or you might watch
are
walkthroughs if you
online
just want to have a little look at what the game's
gaming
like rather before you spend some money on it.
as part of their
But I'm
core.
not sure I understand
So
why
fewer
people
and
watch
fewer
other people
games
play
now
video
are
games.
single
Sounds
player
dull.
experiences, much might discuss.
Anyway,
And more and
32%
more
of video
online
gamers
community
are
gaming.
cross-platform gamers.
So
They play it on
that's
mobile
an element of
console
this, and that's
and on
particularly true of
PC.
Assassin's Creed 3.
35% of them own a gaming
Trying to take
headset.
advantage
Well,
of
why is that significant?
The
Well, you only have a
specialised and
gaming
institutional
headset
nature
if
of
you're
media
going to be
production,
playing
distribution,
online
and
against other
circulation.
people. So it's this stereotype
So
of
we're going to be looking at
video gaming
the
being
idea
a
of
solitary activity is becoming
video
increasingly
games being very
untenable
much
as we
a
see
video
more and
game
more online gaming
industry.
making gaming a
very institutionalized, like anything else,
like
it's
a
dominated
social
by
activity.
A very small number of huge companies.
The more important, I think, is the male-female split.
Of very
Now,
much vertically
active
horizontal
mobile
integrated.
players, it says here, by age and gender,
The
are
rest of the
going to play
recent
more
technological
than
changes
once a
of
month.
media production,
And you
distribution,
can see it's
circulation, so as I
52%
said,
male and
you know, the
48%
internet,
female.
streaming,
So it's a very
you know, it's
even
changed the
split.
nature of what it means to be gaming,
Okay.
online
We also tend to
multiplayer
think of
gaming,
video
that kind of
games, well, we
stuff.
used to anyway, stereotypically
significance
think of
of the
video
ownership
games
and
as being
control into
something that
conglomerate
children
ownership,
did.
vertical integration, diversification, so like I said,
You know, back in the days of
does
Nintendo,
Ubisoft
for
own?
example, back
is
in the 80s,
Ubisoft
for
owned
example,
by
early
somebody
90s,
else?
we thought of video gaming as a
who do they have
kids
partnerships
thing.
with? Who do they work
But
with?
as you can see, look at
etc.
these statistics. You know,
The significance of economic factors,
For
including commercial and not for
10 to 12 year olds, there's only 12% of people who are gamers.
You know,
Oops.
it comes down to ownership again.
21 to 35 year olds is 18%.
How media
36 to
organisations
50
maintain
years
inclusive
old is
marketing rights
15%.
national and
So
globally.
more
We're
36 to
gonna look at
50
the
year
marketing
olds
of
are
Assassin's Creed
playing
3, how it was advertised, who it was
are
advertised
playing
to, what made it different from
video
the other games
games
in the franchise.
than 10 to 20 year olds.
We need to look at the
This is
regulatory
telling us
framework
that for
contemporary
men
media in the UK.
and for women,
So, who
where the
regulates
figures
video
are
games?
very similar.
How was this? Why did
That
they regulate video games?
It's
How was
primarily
this game
something that
regulated? How
adults
does
do,
that
not
change?
children.
Or how does it reflect?
Why might this
or
be?
compare with
Well,
how
you know,
the game was regulated?
teenagers
elsewhere in
are
the
off
world?
doing other teenage things like, you
We've
know,
got the impact of new digital
getting
technologies
drunk
on
off
media
cider
regulation.
behind
It's
bus
harder to
shelters
regulate
and
games
sniffing glue and
or
stealing
anything
cars, or
nowadays.
whatever
We
young
can get
people
it from
do
anywhere
today.
in the world, legitimately.
Whereas on
or
the other
via
hand,
piracy.
Adults are stuck at home.
How
They can't
processes
go
of
out
production,
clubbing.
distribution,
They've got
circulation
kids to look
shape the
after. They've got
product,
mortgages
so,
to pay.
You know what makes Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed
they've had an hard day's
3
work.
different from other games in the
Vegging
franchise
out
because
in front of the
what
Xbox or the
platform is available
PlayStation
on.
or whatever, and
The PlayStation
you know,
Vita. The impact
playing
of
Call of Duty for a
convergence,
bit,
it's not
letting
like
off some
Jenkins is good
steam,
for convergence, actually.
is
This
something
a
that's a
black
lot
box
more
theory.
appealing to
Remember,
an adult,
It's just not
I
into
suppose,
convergence.
because it's an indoor activity.
So the impact of digitally convergent media platforms
This
on media production, distribution, and circulation,
specifically
including
is the
users.
target
So we're
audience
going to look at the
of
PlayStation Vita and what makes it
Assassin's
different from
Creed
other
3 couldn't find
games
Liberation
console.
specifically,
The
but
reg-
as
law
you can see,
regulating
they
global
are
production,
male. They are
distribution,
between 25 and
circulation, the
39
effect
years
it
old.
produces on media per industries. We're gonna look
They
at Ubisoft as a
are
company.
from the northwest.
We've also got to look at
See there,
how
Manchester,
audiences are grouped
Liverpool
and categorised.
kind of area,
So you know you're
followed
NRA
by
social scales,
Scotland, the
and
West
sort of
Country.
like psychographics.
They are very
demographics,
politically left wing, according to
geodemographics.
YouGov profiles.
So age, gender, social class, lifestyle, taste, etc.
Professions. They
What was
work in
different
government
about
and civil
Assassin's Creed
service.
3 Liberation in comparison to the
Wholesale
other
and
Assassin's
rental,
Creed games.
translations and
in terms
interpreters,
of
oddly.
this.
But
How media
monthly
producers
spare
target,
disposable
attract, reach,
income
or
anywhere between
address and potentially
125
instruct
to
audiences.
£499
Really, isn't
per
it?
month disposable income.
How media industries
So,
target audiences
you know,
through the content and appeal
ABC
of media
One, right?
products, and through the ways in which they are
Middle
marketed,
class, basically.
distributed, and circulated.
Because they can afford games consoles.
And we're going to look at the interrelationship between media technologies
So,
and patterns of consumption and response.
That in particular,
So it talks
I'm
about that a
making
lot, okay.
a very close
How
note of.
audiences interpret the media, including how and why audiences may interpret
The video
the
game
same in
industry
different ways.
has
Assassin's Creed 3
skyrocketed
came
in this
for a
country,
lot
as
of
you can
stick
see.
for not being
Interestingly,
very
how
good.
arcades
We'll also look at the
have
way in
stayed
which this is a
pretty
game that
consistent
did feature
since
a
1975.
black female protagonist, and that's the kind of thing
Console
that would have
gaming
upset the
was, had its height just after in the mid
yeah.
noughties. Dropped a little bit
mainly
as other
white,
kinds of gaming
cisgender,
started to take over.
heterosexual, entitled.
The hardware, I suppose that's because we've not really had any
Misogynistic,
new
racist
gaming hardware for
fanboys.
a while, have we, let's face it. The
Informed
2005
internet.
spike
In particular, we'll look at the
kind of
Gamergate
corresponds with the Xbox 360 and the
scandals
PlayStation
that are sort of related to
2,
that, I
3,
guess.
sorry.
We'll
Look how much mobile gaming
look
has
at
increased.
how audiences interact with the media and can be
It's
involved
gone
in
up,
media
obviously,
production.
cloud
So I
gaming
said, like,
skyrocketed. Why? Because there
how
was no
specialist
cloud
audiences
before
can
there.
be reached on national global
Browser
scale,
games.
technologies and platforms.
Things you play on Facebook, like, I don't know.
How media
Farmville or
organisations
something.
reflect the different needs of specialists
PC
and mass
games.
audiences through targeting. That's
Quite
what
significant
what we said
raised
about
in
advertising.
Popularity
How
quite a lot.
audiences use media
But
in
it shows you
different ways,
video
reflecting
gaming has
demographic
become a
factors,
much
and other
more
aspects of identity and cultural
diverse
capital.
thing,
So, people identify
and it's
themselves
become increasingly
as gamers,
popular
don't
and,
they?
more importantly, increasingly
make a living out of it.
mainstream.
But we'll also think about, well, who,
Now, I'm not going to go into this next bit in any
when we think
detail.
of gamers,
I'll
what
leave
do we
these
think of?
pictures
What kind of
on
person
Moodle
is
for you
a
to
gamer?
look
Does
at. I
that
just wanted to give you
reality
some kind of
reflect our
historical
stereotype?
context. Right,
So
now,
the
this
role and
next few
significance
slides are
of
looking
specialised
particularly at
audiences
the
in
UK
niche fan
market.
media and the way in
So,
which
the
audiences
first
interpret
video
sex,
games we
social
saw
circumstances.
hitting the market were in 1972, year before I was born.
Right,
the
so a lot of
Magnavox
stuff to
Odyssey.
cover there.
Very, very
So, where
simple
do we start?
American games console.
Bit of flip learning for you. Right, okay. There's
Then
the
you
Assassin's
started
Creed
to
3
get,
Liberation
again, more Magnavox
set
Odysseys, but
product
also
fact
Pong.
sheets.
So
Now, that is
Atari
available on
brought
Moodle.
Pong out in
I will
1972, I
email
think,
it
in
out to you as
arcades.
well to make life
1975,
easier
they had
for
a
you,
home
but
version of
you
it. You plugged
can
into your TV.
easily find
This
that
played one game,
just
Pong.
by
That was it.
typing into
Simplest
Google.
video
You'll find
game
information off
possible.
there. There's
Then you got a bunch of other
Textbook,
people, more
don't forget.
Magnavox ones
So
coming out.
the
Atari
pages
starting to do some other
115
bits and pieces.
WJCA
But this is the one that I started gaming on, the Atari VCS.
And
known as
I've
the,
already put together
2600 in the UK. I had one of these. It had Pac-Man, Space Invaders.
On there at the moment, you will
what else
find
they have on it? Asteroids, all those kind of
some
games.
videos about
So
the
these
history of
classic
Assassin's Creed as a
Atari
franchise.
games.
You will find trailers for the
that
various
sold in
games.
the UK
You
for a
will
long
see
time.
some videos about effects theory
First
in video
Apple
games.
II computers.
And
First, the Apple
I
I was
will
made
be
of wood.
adding more
That's
and
how
more videos to
primitive
it
it was.
as
You
I
got to
get
build it
around to
yourself.
actually making them.
The Apple II was the first
So keep an eye on it and
Macintosh
see what
computer,
pops
Apple
up.
Macintosh that we recognise today.
So,
Magnavox still big, Atari still big.
as I said, there's a history of Assassin's Creed 3 videos on
Keep
there.
going
so
along.
watch those.
More
Well, I put
TV
that
racing
separately
games,
because it's
things
in
like
the
that.
playlist. I would recommend you watch all of it, but you particularly need to watch
Again,
a bit
more
about
these have sort of
Assassin's Creed
disappeared into the
Liberation,
distance.
obviously.
Now this
Definitely
one, Commodore
the entire thing
VIC
about Assassin's
20.
Creed 3. But if you at least watch between 21 minutes and 11
I knew a few
seconds
people
and
had one of
23
them. We
minutes and
started to
3
see the
seconds
first
at very
IBM
minimum.
PCs
But I recommend you watch all of it so you've got a better understanding. of what
long
I'm
before there
talking
was such a thing as Windows.
about. And as I said,
But this
couldn't
is
it, to actually
Sinclair
download and play
ZX81,
Assassin's
so
Creed
called because
3
it came out in 1981. It had 81
as I said, it's available on the Steam
K. Could be a
network to
digital
be
watch
able
on
to
that. K.
download, and
People
I
play
got
games
it for
on it.
about £7 because it was
Highly
in
collectible
the
today.
Easter sale. Don't know if it's still
Atari's still in
on
it.
sale.
Calco coming in. Then the
I
other
bought
big
it
one when I was a
last
kid
year for the
was the
PlayStation
the
3.
Commodore 64.
Never around playing it, but it cost me
And
£3.
later on
so just have a
the
look.
Spectrum
You might be able to
128K
find it cheap.
came a bit
You never
later
know, it
on.
might even be free. 'Cause
When I was a kid, you were a Spectrum guy or
PlayStation
you were a
been giving
Commodore
a
guy.
load of games free
Or gal.
just download
Mostly
for nothing
guys, I guess.
during the coronavirus lockdown. But of course, you might be listening to this in the future.
Yeah, they
in
were
which case-
classics.
Sorry.
You can buy emulators for these now.
Anyway.
on the PC if you want to.
That
And we
is the
can buy,
first
like,
video.
little
I've
mini
rambled on
ones that
for
come
half
with
an
pretty
hour.
much
But
every
that's
game
everything
ever
we're
on
going to cover. Subsequent videos
What's interesting
will
about these Gamescom computers,
covering
these were
specific
computers, they weren't
topics,
games
and I'll
consoles.
be
These are games
feeding
consoles.
those out over the
These
next
are
week or
computers.
so. If you've got any
There
questions,
was an entire
you know where I
like
am.
bedroom industry of
Just drop me an
teenagers
email.
even
But I'll just
programming
start off
their
with
own
this basic
games.
flip learning stuff, and
You could buy
will
magazines
eventually
that
send
had
out some
instructions on how to
questions for
program
you
the
to
games
do.
yourself.
Right.
It's one of the reasons why Britain has so many computer programmers comparison to many other
Yeah.
countries. So we had this
And in this video, we're going to look
really
at
big
Assassin's
industry of
Creed 3
homemade
Liberation
video game
and Ubisoft.
entrepreneurs.
So,
basically, syllabus links.
So,
As you can see,
from
Sega
One Media Products
then
Industries
start
and
getting into the
Audiences.
game in
So
1983.
what we're going to be looking at are media industries, audiences and media
Nintendo.
contexts,
This was
all
the
of which
big
will be
deal.
in section
Nintendo
B. You'll
Entertainment
never have to
System, the
answer
NES,
questions
in
about Assassin's
1985.
Creed 3 Liberation in section A.
That brought
In this video, we
and the
are
Atari
mainly going to be
ST
looking at
computer,
stuff that goes
actually.
towards
That was
media
another big
industries
deal.
bullet point.
So
For understanding
That's-
media industries and audiences,
brought the
you've
gaming
got to develop
back
knowledge
into the
and
console
understanding of key
market. This
aspects
was
of media
huge.
industries, including the
Started getting
significance
things like
of
Mario
ownership
games
funding.
and stuff.
That's what
Right.
Prince is going to be looking at today.
Oh,
We'll
Spectrum
look at
2, forgot
regulation
about
and
that for
different
that
video.
bad boy. Right, okay. Then you started to
We'll look
get
at the platform a
Amigas
little bit
again,
today
good
in
computers in
the
those
video,
days.
but we'll look
But you
at
started to get
separately
the Mega Drive
later.
come out in
And we'll
1988.
look
That
at
was
the
another big
audiences
deal. I had a
little bit
Mega
today,
Drive.
but mostly in a
Had
different video.
never had an NES, did I?
Just to
No, I
remind
had a
you,
Mega
these
Drive,
are the
though.
things you might find in section B.
1989 is
Advertising
Atari
can be
Lynx. I had
titled
one of
Watershed,
those. Sega Genesis. I had one of
Worry.
those. Never had a
Films
Game
gonna
Boy.
be Black
But there you go,
Panther
the
and Ragtime
iconic Game
Blake,
Boy, 1989.
which could appear in section A or section B, as could advertising. Newspapers could be section A or
SNES,
section B. That's the Daily Mirror. and
Super
Times.
Nintendo
But
Entertainment
Late Night
System.
Woman's Hour for
One of the
radio,
great
Assassin's
games
Creed 3
consoles.
Liberation for video games.
I had that.
Can only be
Brilliant
section
console.
B. So you've got to understand
Lynx 2.
that
Was it a Lynx 2? I had
Assassin's
not a
Creed
Lynx,
3
I can't
Liberation
remember.
is a
Then you
contemporary
started to see games coming not on
action
cartridge but on
adventure game,
CD.
specifically a
So the
third,
Sega Mega CD.
person
Not very
perspective,
popular, but it's sort of like it was one of
action
the first
or
ones that
stealth
did it.
game.
Philips
In
CDI.
terms
I
of the
remember
relevant
those.
video games industry and the audience
Um,
it illustrates, the audience issues it illustrates.
People messing with the
So,
format,
well,
trying to come up with new ways of doing it.
genre in this video.
The big deal, though,
So,
the thing that
you
changed
need to
everything
be
with games consoles,
Aware of what
1994,
gameplay is like now.
the Sony
This could mean
PlayStation.
playing the game.
This was the
At the moment, Assassin's
console
Creed 2 is
that
completely
took
free.
video gaming from being
on
primarily
Steam at
something
least.
kids did, and it specifically marketed itself at
Because of the
20
coronavirus
somethings.
lockdown, they're giving some stuff away.
You had
Whether
games
Assassin's Creed
like
3
Wipeout
will become free,
with
I don't know,
its
but I paid about
techno
£7 for it,
soundtrack
Steam
of
was
sort of
cheap.
like dance hits,
When I got
people
it on
like Prodigy,
PlayStation
The
3
Orb,
for £3.
Orbital,
If you don't know
Fluke,
what PS3
these kind
is
of
about.
electronic bands,
But anyway,
and it
in order
made
to develop this awareness, you should be
video
if you're
gaming
playing the
something you
game,
did
at
when you
least
got in from
watching
the
some
club
online
and you couldn't sleep
walkthroughs.
because of whatever
See
you
what the
take.
gameplay is like.
Right.
I will try and do one
So it
myself.
became something that was a more
Focus
grown-up
on some of the
thing,
issues.
not for kids. So the
Right, anyway,
PlayStation
key theories.
revolutionised
Current
the games industry.
So, power in the media industries. So, the idea that the media is
32-bit.
controlled by a small number of companies
Then we
primarily
need something
driven by the
64-bit,
logic of
double
profit and
power.
power.
Bang, 1996.
Obviously,
Nintendo
this is very much the
64.
case for Ubisoft, just like it would
Right.
be for any other video games
Great
company.
console.
You know, there's no such thing as a
Still making Game
public
Boys.
service broadcaster in video games terms. Okay,
So Dreamcast.
we've got
Well, a
really
big cult
large
following. That came out in
conglomerates
1998 when I was
dominating
in
the
uni.
video game industry. There are
So, I
plenty
never
of
had a
smaller
Dreamcast.
independent ones.
I did have
but
a PlayStation
don't have the
and
same
an
kind of
N64.
power as the big companies, and they don't have
Game
anywhere
Boy
near
started
as
to
big
go
of a
colour in 1988.
Now, this second bullet,
So
point,
that's
the idea that media
sort of like
concentration
up
generally
to
limits or
the
inhibits
turn of the millennium.
variety, creativity, and quality.
Um,
This is
Again, this is,
exceptionally and especially true
this is sort of
of
like-
video game industry, even
we're
more
sort
so
of
than
about
other
here then,
industries
aren't
like
we?
film industry.
then
The
2000, PlayStation 2 comes out.
video
What's interesting
games
about
are
2000
exceptionally expensive
this-
to develop,
is where we first start to see, because the PlayStation was
which makes
actually on
them a
CD.
risk. Audiences
This
are not going
was
to
where
pay.
Blu-ray came into
you know,
the
as much
equation
as
in
60
2000.
quid for a
So,
game
not
that
like
they don't
DVD,
know.
sorry. So DVD came in,
And
in
because
2000. So
Video games are becoming
the big
more and
film
more
of
sophisticated.
1999,
Audiences
was The
are
Matrix.
expecting games that are larger,
and people were going out
that
Christmas 1999.
hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of
2000
gameplay
to
and
buy
then
their PlayStations at
multiplayer
Christmas.
versions. They're expecting
The Matrix is on DVD. This plays DVD.
Realistic graphics.
People started buying
That's
DVDs.
expensive.
So what we've got here,
you're
the
not gonna
beginnings
spend
of
the
convergence.
kinds
Up
of
until then,
money
games consoles were just games consoles.
Necessary
They did nothing
to
else.
develop a new
This,
game
the
that the audiences are
PlayStation
not
could play
gonna know.
CDs. You could link it to your
So-
telly and listen to music.
To bring in
So
Hezbollah
very
stuff.
early
The
convergence. But this,
franchise,
it played
the
CDs,
sequel, the
it played
prequel,
movies,
the reboot, the remaster,
it played
become
games.
exceptionally
So
important
what
video
we
games
started to
and
see
also
was
in
people
films.
buying PlayStations
Which does mean
to watch
that the
DVDs,
variety,
not necessarily to play
creativity
games
of
on.
Video games nowadays is nowhere near
Because
what it once was.
PlayStation was
Especially
two
on the
was as
latest
good at playing
generations of consoles.
DVDs
It's
as a
simply
DVD player
isn't
was at the time,
choice
and
and
probably just
selection
as
of titles
cheap,
that they
really.
used to be.
So,
There
2000.
is the indie games industry.
Year later,
which
this is sixth generation.
sort
Year
of
later,
count as that,
we're
but
on the
they're niche,
Xbox.
They're not mainstream.
Never had a PlayStation 2. I had an Xbox.
The idea that the more socially diverse patterns of ownership help to create
Um,
conditions for more varied and adventurous media productions, like I
Game
said,
Boy
you can't
Advance
really
came out in
have
2001.
kind of like a
Then we also got the GameCube
equivalent
from
of a public
Nintendo. I
service
had one of them.
broadcast of video games.
PSP
But
comes out
the
in
indie
2004.
games industry does a little bit to
As
try and counter
does
this.
the N64. No, sorry, Nintendo
Regulation
DS
will
LI.
cover
Sorry,
different
Nintendo DS. 2005 saw
Cultural
the Xbox
industries,
360,
David
we went
Hensley
the seventh
the idea that
generation.
cultural industry companies try to
The
minimise risk to maximize
PlayStation
audience,
3
horizontal and vertical
and
integration.
Nintendo
Definitely
Wii.
case
We're
of
now
Ubisoft
currently in
will
the
come out in a
eighth
minute.
generation.
And as I was saying about formatting the cultural
With
project,
PS4,
products through the use of
Xbox
stars.
One, and
There are people
Wii,
famous for doing
all that
video
kind of
game
stuff, and
voices,
some
but stars
other sort of like
isn't a major issue.
what do
They
you call them,
will
streaming
obviously
boxes and stuff
draft
like that.
in real
We're
Hollywood
starting
actors to star in
sometime,
videos,
if not this year or
video
next
games,
year, we'll
sorry,
start to see
add their
PlayStation
voices and
5
even their image.
and whatever the new,
But
what the new Xbox is called.
it's not as big a deal as it would be. in the
Whatever
film
else got a
industry,
call
for
when it
example.
comes out anyway.
Genres, however,
So,
and serials, as
um,
Hezbollah called it, we'll call it
we'll
franchises.
be into the ninth
which is a much more
generation.
effective word. They
These
are a
calls are
big
fully
deal, like I've
convergent.
been saying.
Alright. So
The largest companies
it'll
and conglomerates now operate across a number of different
you'll
cultural
play
industries.
games,
That will
and you don't
definitely
even
be
need them on a
true
physical
with software.
format.
We've got music
I
and
think
film
that
divisions.
some of the newer PlayStation 4s are
The
purely
idea that radical
downloading. They haven't
potential
even
of
got the
the
ability to
internet
shove a
being
disc in them.
contained by some extent by its partial incorporation of large
They
profit-oriented set of cultural industries.
will stream
Not
music.
such a big deal
So
in this
you know,
case
it's got,
because of the internet, but
I think it's got Spotify built
you
in.
could
Does it? Mine
argue
got Spotify
that,
built
you
in,
know,
does it?
back when I was a
Can't
kid,
remember.
if you looked
Might
at the
have.
early 80s, people were gaming on things
You
like
can watch movies
yeah,
on it. You
the
can download
Sinclair
movies off
ZX
Sony's PlayStation
Spectrum,
Store onto the
48K, and
console.
64K,
You can-
Commodore 64. You know, the
you've
video
got
games industry.
virtual
in this
reality on them
century
now.
and those days
VR
was
headsets
pretty
you can
much
plug
a,
into them. You've got
homemade
sort of
industry.
like
It was people
cameras like
programming
the,
video games in their bedrooms on
Kinect
cassette
and
tapes,
stuff.
which is
They're
very different to kind of
multi-purpose
like more Japanese or American experience.
home
in the early days
entertainment
of
hubs.
Atari, for example. And the games
We'll get
consoles
onto
the
that in a
Americans
separate
were
thing when we
play
do
on.
converge. I'll do a video on
But
convergence.
I think that's a different.
What
video
kind of
for
devices
today.
do people have in their
Not
homes?
relevant.
So people playing by device between 6 and 64
We've
year
been
old.
through this in an earlier video,
So,
but,
as you can see,
know, we're mainly
29%
looking
of
at
gamers have
a little bit of
consoles,
production distribution,
11%
circulation,
have some
too
kind of
much.
handheld device,
Definitely this
28% have got
technological change
computers
will
of
be
some
different
kind,
Video,
25% have
definitely
got
looking at patterns of ownership as the
smartphones.
main thing we're
I
gonna be
thought that would
looking
be
at.
higher by now.
maybe some economic
And
factors.
19% of them have got
Um,
tablets.
How media
It
organisations
says here,
target their
54%
audiences with
of
a
players
little
in
bit
the
of
UK are
that,
male and
but I think we'll do that as a
46%
separate video.
female. It depends on,
Regulation
this is
separately,
this
video technologies will be
2019
separately.
figures.
Little
So
bit,
this
I
is the
guess,
based
that'll
on
be
research
separate
that have been done in
really.
2018.
for that one.
So the largest
That- that
single
was-
age and
that
gender
was something.
demographic is 15 to 24-year-old males,
Right,
making
okay.
up 14% of all players, whereas 15
Assassin's
to 24-year-old
Creed 3
females
product
make up
context.
11%
Well,
of players.
Assassin's
That's from
Creed
quarter
3
one in
Liberation
2018.
It's part
Got
of
these figures
the
from YouTube.
extremely successful
Right.
Assassin's
You
Creed.
can see up here the
game
Association of
franchise,
UK Interactive
which is a
Entertainment.
Ubisoft development.
So the UK is now the
Liberation,
6th largest
along
video
with
game
its
market, slumped a bit.
Bigger
In
global
2018, in
title,
terms of
Assassin's
consumer
Creed
revenues
3
after China,
was
USA,
released
Japan
on
and
October
Germany,
30th, 2012.
approximately 37.3 million
quite
people
an
in
old
the
game
UK
right now.
play video games, so we're knocking on to, well, over half
Now-
the population.
What was the background
That's
of
up
this? Well,
from the
back
figures they
in
had
those
before,
days,
which said the 32.4
the
million
main
people
Sony
play, so it's gone
games
up
console was
quite a
PlayStation
lot.
3.
You know, that's 5 million people
product.
in only a couple of years.
But they also had a
UK consumer,
portable games
not just one of them, all of them,
machine.
spend on games was valued
Portable,
at
PSP.
5.7 billion in 2018 as a
PlayStation
record,
Vita
up
was
10%
developed
from the
as
year
a
before.
Newer, more powerful.
2018 was the biggest year for game software ever. 4.01 billion in sales.
To release this new console,
as you can see,
they needed
20.3% of
killer
that,
app.
2.1 billion, was digital and
Killer
online.
app is a
770 million of it was
term
box software,
developed by
so
a
you're
guy
actually
called
going to the shop
Rossa
and buying
Reeves,
a
I
disc.
believe.
That's down by
And it means
2.6%.
the thing
Mobile
that
games, though,
makes a product
were up by
worth
8.2%, 1.17 billion pound.
in terms
And
of
pre-owned is
video
worth 68
game
million,
consoles,
which is down
killer
30.8%.
apps, games you
That,
play
I
on it.
assume,
Quite often
is
you'll
to
have
do with the fact
exclusives. So
that a
certain
lot of the
games
stores
are
selling
available
pre-owned games
on
went
certain
bust.
platforms. Think of like Halo.
Game is
exclusive
hanging on
to
by the skin of its teeth if the
Xbox, right?
coronavirus shutdown doesn't kill it off.
So, in order
obviously
to
we're seeing
promote this new title, they
people sold
needed
companies like
cast
Sega,
iron,
CEX,
solid gold, AAA franchise
selling pre-owned
to
games,
launch
but
the
more and more
PlayStation
people are
Vita.
buying
And that's where Assassin's Creed
online
comes
digital
in, because
games,
it's one
and
of
you
the
can't
biggest
sell them on. So that's why the
franchises
pre-owned market
that
is
Sony
slumping
and
badly.
PlayStation have got. So, it was simultaneously
Games hardware,
released
consoles up by 6.5%,
with Assassin's
702
Creed
million.
3.
PC
on
games hardware
PlayStation.
up by 18.4%
So
to
Assassin's Creed 3
445
came
million.
out on PlayStation.
Peripherals and
Assassin's Creed 3
accessories
Liberation
up
came
by
out at the same
20%,
time on
255
the
million.
PSP.
Virtual
The idea
reality
was
hardware
this killer
slumping,
app would
72 million.
entice
It's not really taken
hardcore
off
Assassin's
virtual
Creed
reality, is it?
gamers,
I don't think anybody really wants it.
fans into buying.
But
the
remember,
Vita just
it's
to be able
not
to play
just
the Assassin's
about
Creed title on.
The games
Because if they were the
themselves,
early
it's
adopter
about the
kind of
transmedia
hardcore fans,
sales,
they
as
would
we
have done
were
something
saying
like
in that
that.
other video about Ubisoft.
Equally, if you were
So
a casual gamer,
merchandising
and you
is a
might
big
not
deal.
be the kind of person who's really
But
into
slumping
sitting down
toys
at
and
home in front of the
merchandising is
TV
down
playing
nearly a
on
quarter
PlayStation, but maybe you're the kind of person who
59.3
likes having
million.
a bit of a game on the bus on the way to school in the
Books
morning,
and magazines
or on
slumping
the
a
way to
little
work
bit,
or something. And you
1.3%
like portable
down
gaming.
to
Well, you might
17.8
fancy
million.
PS Vita, but you think,
Movies
what
and
can I play on it?
soundtracks, though, were up by
Assassin's Creed. I
34%,
know that franchise.
23.6
Maybe
million.
I've never played those
That could
games before,
entirely
but
be
I've
down
heard
to
of
Tomb
it.
Raider
It was
movie
popular.
coming
Maybe
out.
we'll buy that.
Events
So
and
originally,
venues like,
Assassin's
your
Creed 3 was
Comic-Con
only
and that
available
kind of
on the
nonsense.
PlayStation
5.5%
Vita.
has gone up to 8.9 million.
But it was 2 years later ported. That means
So it's a 1.57 billion pound industry.
Sure,
Remember,
don't know what I mean.
games
Ported
cultured worth
onto other
109.6 million, which isn't an
available
awful
on
lot,
the
really.
PC on DVD. It became available on the
This figure's from
PS3
Ofcom.
and other platforms.
Sorry,
as
Ofcom,
well.
the marketing
Now,
communications
as part of the way they were selling
regulator.
the
Ownership of internet-enabled
Vita, as you
devices,
can see,
household
you could buy
take-up, and
what's
year-on-year
called a
difference.
bundle.
This is a few years old. These
Bundling is where
2017.
two
But
products
of course,
are
you can
sold
see here it's
together.
saying that
Right.
29% of UK households
In this
have got
case,
some
they
kind
are
of desktop
bundling
computer.
Assassin's Creed 3 in with the
64%
PlayStation Vita.
have got a
You could
laptop.
probably PlayStation Vita on its own, and it would have been cheaper.
44% have got games
to
consoles.
play on it.
58%
So
have
you
got
will often
tablets.
buy bundles where
76% have got
smartphones.
smartphones.
The game.
All of which are
and
capable
the
of playing
console.
video games.
So it was all about trying to.
36%
get people to buy
of
the PlayStation
households
Vita
have
on
got a
launch.
smart television. 10% of those have got some kind of internet connected dongle, like a
Now,
Google
what did
Chromecast
PlayStation
or an
3
Amazon Fire Stick. I'd imagine that's gone up considerably
for the
since then.
PlayStation Gamer, right?
Smart TVs can also
It
play
had
video games.
the familiar pleasures that were.
So what we're talking about here,
you know,
is
existing Assassin's
video
Creed fans
gaming
would
is
recognise.
now
Okay, it's got the generic
mainstream.
tropes, the generic convention.
it's something
Open
everybody
world,
does.
sandbox gaming, a narrative.
I've got a handout that will go with
parkour,
this
climbing,
about
running,
who
jumping,
plays games.
fighty kind of things.
But if you want to drill down
It
into the
had
figures,
third-person perspective.
on the
All
surface,
the kind of
it
things you were
looks
familiar
like
with this game, including the Assassins versus Knights Templar
men and
kind
women
of,
play games
um,
pretty much equally. The question we have to
narrative
ask ourselves though is what kinds of games are they
But
playing?
it did try to target a different demographic.
Generally
of gamer,
speaking,
which we'll look more at in your
whilst there are
video, but in
many
particular what we're trying
female
to do is
hardcore
target
gamers out there.
female gamers In those
Female
days,
gamers
the
tend to be more
stereotype was
casual
that
gamers.
video gaming was a male.
Men have a tendency to be more
pastime.
avid,
They play
hardcore
video
gamers.
games, or at least
Not to say there aren't
not as
avid,
much as men
hardcore
did.
female gamers out there and casual
That
male
changed
gamers.
with the invention
Right.
of
Balances
smart
it out.
devices like
Okay.
the mobile
But
phone in particular. Women
think
are now
about
more likely
all
to be
those games
gamers
you've
than
got on your
men,
phone.
but they tend to be more casual gamers.
Whether it be your
And
Candy
that was one of the
Crushes
things
or your,
PlayStation Portable was trying to tackle,
Angry
but
Birds,
later on,
going back a few years,
or
or
tap into.
you know, Wordscapes. which
Not
I'm
only did it have a
practically
strong
obsessed with.
female protagonist and an attempt
Those
to
kind of things, okay?
appeal to female gamers,
We all,
but that
you know,
protagonist,
It's not
I
just
believe
sat in
it's
front
all
of
three
a
is
PlayStation.
which was
playing
pretty
Call of
radical.
Duty.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
there's nothing new about female protagonists. in
That
video
is a
games.
brief
That goes all the way back to
overview of
Miss Pac-Man and
the
Metroid
video
Prime
games
in the
industry.
early 80s.
These are the
You know,
latest
and
figures
you
I can
had,
find.
you know, Lara Croft had
So
been
they relate to
the massive
2018.
video game star of
Okay.
the earlier generation.
Be
of,
interesting
you know,
to
PlayStation.
see what the coronavirus lockdown has
So
done
a black
for
and
gaming
female
in the
character,
UK.
that was quite radical.
I should imagine video gaming has gone through the roof.
So, who are Ubisoft?
But we won't
Ubisoft
know that
Entertainment
yet,
SA,
will we?
they're a
Because we're
French
still
video
stuck in the
game
middle of
publisher.
it.
They're horizontally and vertically integrated.
Unless you're in the
The
future.
fourth largest
listening to
video game
this.
company in the Americas and
But
Europe,
anyway.
so not include Japan.
That's a brief overview
Ubisoft owns
of
numerous
the video game
subsidiaries
industry.
across
We'll give you
North
some other
America,
handouts to
Europe,
go
and
with
Asia,
this. If you've
which
got
are
any
normally
questions, you
named
know where I
after
am,
the
and
city
I'll see you in the next one.
Ubisoft Montreal.